We're going over the accounts, the events that transpired in the United States of America on Saturday that has shocked the entire world as the former U.S. President Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt by a whisker. A 20-year-old shooter identified as Thomas Crooks shot at Donald Trump only to narrowly miss him with his bullet just grazing past Trump's right ear. Now, the gunman who continued also to spray bullets, which ultimately led to the loss of one person's life as well, who was attending Trump's rally in Pennsylvania, and two others who were injured. Donald Trump put out a statement last evening to his supporters, thanking them for their prayers. He says that God alone prevented the unthinkable from happening and has urged his supporters to remain resilient and defiant in the face of wickedness, asserting that it is important that his supporters stand united and show the real American character. The president, meanwhile, Joe Biden, spoke to his predecessor shortly after the incident and also chaired a high-level meeting with senior security officials, including the director of the Secret Service, Homeland Security Advisor, and the National Security Advisor. The U.S. president thereafter addressed the nation last evening, assuring adequate steps are being taken in the matter. Biden announced at least three crucial decisions on this front, including an independent review, also talking about when it comes to a complete review of all security measures at the venue for the Republican National Convention that Donald Trump is all set to address hours from now.
Last night, I spoke with Donald Trump. I'm sincerely grateful that he's doing well and recovering, and we had a short but good conversation. Jill and I are keeping him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victim who was killed. He was a father. He was protecting his family from the bullets that were being fired, and he lost his life. God love him. The FBI is leading this investigation, which is still in its early stages. We don't yet have any information about the motive of the shooter. We know who he is. I urge everyone, please, don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations. Let the FBI do their job and their partner agencies do their job. I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done. Here's what we're going to do. First, Mr. Trump, as a former president and nominee of the Republican Party, already receives a heightened level of security. And I've been consistent in my direction to the Secret Service to provide him with every resource, capability, and protective measure necessary to ensure his continued safety. Second, I've directed the head of the Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. And third, I've directed an independent review of the national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened. And we'll share the results of that independent review with the American people as well.
And another update coming in with the FBI that has now been roped in to investigate the matter further. We are learning that the security agencies have also found the explosive material at the residence of the shooter, identified as Thomas Crooks. Now, however, the motive still remains unclear. It is yet to be ascertained. We have another big update coming in, which, according to the FBI, will also be probing the angle when it comes to domestic terror. In fact, the FBI has also shared details on the weapon that has been used by the shooter as AR-556. This was the weapon that was used by the shooter, and it was purchased by the shooter's father.
First thing I want to say is that the FBI stands with the people of Butler County in western Pennsylvania, and our hearts go out to the victims of this heinous act which occurred today. This is our community, and I want to let the public know that the FBI has deployed a number of our resources, including investigative agents, our evidence response team, bomb technicians, and we have additional resources coming from other field offices, as well as from FBI headquarters, including our evidence response from Quantico, Virginia.
The state police have been in regular contact with the governor's office, and the full support and assets of the entire agency are behind the FBI and our other federal and municipal partners to assist with this investigation. The thoughts and prayers of the Pennsylvania State Police are likewise with the victims of this terrible act.
As you know, there was a grandstand, a very large area, a lot of people there when this all unfolded. The former president had come out and begun to speak shortly after 6 o'clock this evening, and within about 10 to 15 minutes, a number of sounds were heard, and it became apparent that shots were being fired in that direction. It was a chaotic scene. Law enforcement, I believe, acted heroically, quickly identifying and neutralizing the threat, as well as responding to assist the various victims.
This morning, the investigation is ongoing and continuing to find out what exactly went right and what went wrong after an attempted assassination this weekend in Pennsylvania on former U.S. President Donald Trump while he was speaking at a rally in Butler. Now, it happened around 6 o'clock local time on Saturday. Moments later, the Secret Service quickly huddled, forming a body shield, protecting the former president, issuing a countdown, and then whisking him away. Now, their investigation continues with the FBI trying to find out what went right and was there a missed opportunity when it comes to security lapses. This week, many lawmakers, especially all the Republicans, will be gathering in Milwaukee to make Donald Trump the official nominee on the GOP ticket. President Biden did speak to the former president this weekend, offering his thoughts and support and prayers, as well as many former U.S. presidents, including Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. The Carter Center here in Atlanta also saying this is not democracy, this is not how Americans should be, and they should not fear when they're gathering in a public space when it comes to a political rally. So everybody's certainly on edge as the pressure cooker, the political days countdown until November when it comes to when Joe Biden or Donald Trump will be the next American president.
Well, meanwhile, the incident that has once again brought the focus back on the heavily polarized campaign for the upcoming presidential elections in the United States of America, with the governor of Pennsylvania urging both sides to lower the political temperatures for more informed and cordial discourse that is now expected with the Republican convention just coming up, as far as former President Donald Trump himself would be addressing this convention.
Political disagreements can never, ever be addressed through violence. Disagreements are okay, but we need to use a peaceful political process to settle those differences. This is a moment where all leaders have a responsibility to speak and act with moral clarity, where all leaders need to take down the temperature and rise above the hateful rhetoric that exists and search for a better, brighter future for this nation.
Let's, in the meantime, also talk about the leader's address that came in from the Oval Office. Alongside calling for lowering of political temperatures, President Biden also listed more instances of political violence that have happened in the past, where he mentioned the 6th of January, the Capitol attack. He also lists the assault on Nancy Pelosi's husband, the spouse as well. All of these mentions that were also made by President Biden, also, however, saying that don't assume anything, let the respective agencies do their job.
We've traveled before throughout our history. Violence has never been the answer, whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th, or a brutal attack on the spouse of former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, or information and intimidation on election officials, or the kidnapping plot against the sitting governor, or an attempted assassination on Donald Trump. There is no place in America for this kind of violence, or for any violence ever. Period. No exceptions.
Well, Rishabh is joining us live right now. Rishabh, good morning. Every hour we're receiving some sort of an update so far when it comes to as far as former president is concerned, because he's now reached Milwaukee, where in hours from now the Republican National Convention is going to be held. And of course, it may change the entire perspective or the narrative in his address right after this Pennsylvania incident.
Well, definitely, the sources within the Republican Party suggest that Donald Trump has not only changed the content of his speech, but has also made it basic to talk about what happened yesterday in Pennsylvania, to ensure that the momentum that the Republicans have gained after this attack can be carried forward till the elections in November. Apart from that, at the RNC, we'll hear more and more Republicans coming out and talking about things, and it will be very interesting to see whether any one of them will speak about the gun control in the United States or not. Remember, when the Democrats wanted to bring in the gun control, Republicans did not support the bill, and given that Republicans are in majority in the Congress and Senate, the bill could not be passed. But having said that, the attack yesterday will change a lot of things in the United States. Remains to be seen how things unfold on that front. Apart from that, FBI is also very, very clear that they are yet to ascertain a lot of issues and answers related to this attack and the way this attack has taken forward. It can be seen as a security lapse, definitely, but also apart from that, whether it is a domestic terror act or whether it is an assassination attempt, all these will be looked after by FBI during the investigation. The purview of investigation is being expanded to a level where it can be ascertain whether it was a lone wolf attack or a well-coordinated terror attack or assassination attempt.
All right. As far as the agency is doing their investigation, it is yet to be ascertained what could have been the motive and whether it was a lone wolf attack on part of this individual who has been identified as a resident of Pennsylvania as well. Please to stay on with us, Rishabh, because Trump attacker who has now been neutralized now with the immediate source of information that actually what led to this attack was taken out of the picture. Now, while the motive still remains unclear, it's a matter of investigation. There is plenty of politics that could be precipitated from this attack, where Republicans and other Trump supporters are now pointing fingers at what they call as the extreme rhetoric of the left liberals. Many are talking about the language that has been used against the former president by his critics and how he was repeatedly called a threat to democracy, a Nazi, a fascist, and even Hitler. Now, some like Sebastian Gorka, the former advisor to Trump, they are specifically citing Biden's recent statement where he said that it is time to put Trump in a bullseye and calling it as an instigation, although there is still no evidence trying to connect these comments to the attack that happened on Donald Trump or when it comes to the motive of the shooter. We spoke to American sociologist Salvatore Bambonza as well on what he has to say on this kind of rhetoric and what inspires especially on those individuals who can be influenced or who can be brainwashed easily.
Unfortunately, violence is part of the American political scene and has been for more than 200 years. Now, in addition, there's a lot of highly inflammatory political language. It was President Biden himself who less than a week ago said we have to put a bullseye on Donald Trump. Now, of course, he meant that metaphorically. He was not calling on somebody to assassinate Donald Trump, potentially inspire those who, well, are obviously, a little too passionate and a lot have a poor grasp of reality to take actions like this.
They've demonized my former boss for the last 8 years. They called him literally a Nazi, a fascist, a white supremacist. Sadly, it was inevitable that somebody would act on those words. So the fact that Joe Biden 5 days ago at an event said that we need to put a bullseye on President Trump tells you everything you need to know. There's one political party that has normalized violence in America, and it's not us. It's not the Republicans.
Well, back home, when it comes